Welcome back to Conversations on Deck, and today is 2 for Tuesday, folks. We're looking at this 1977 Topps Rookie Pitchers card featuring you, me, and Mike Dupree, Denny Martinez, Craig Mitchell, maybe related to Joni Mitchell, and Bob Sykes of the Tigers. And I pulled this one with my sister Renee on Powerline Pass, and from Classic Wax, and she had said after the video, she said something like, you opened these before so you could study and learn how to talk about these cards. I said, no, I didn't pre-open the pack. That'd be cheating. She didn't believe me, but I will tell you, I don't pre-open the packs. It's just fresh, and whatever comes out of my brain hits the tongue, and you guys are hearing it. So let's start with Bob Sykes. Born December 11, 1954, in Neptune Township, New Jersey. I think that's a cool name for a place to be born, Neptune Township. He was a left-handed pitcher. He went to St. Rose High School. It was a college prep high school. It's still around. Kind of caught my attention because I went to a college called the College of St. Rose, and it's not around, though. You know, after COVID, they had to shutter their doors. So Bob Sykes, let's check him out. 1977. He was 22 years old. You can tell he looks real young there. And it looks like he might have some chaw in his cheek there and his left side there. He was 5-7. He had 4.41 ERA. He pitched in 32 games. 3 complete games, 132.2 innings, 65 earned runs, 50 walks, 58 Ks, and 2 hit by pitches. Here's what the great Whitey Herzog said about Bob Sykes, because later on in his career he would move to the Cardinals. And here's what Whitey Herzog said, quote, "It was Bob Sykes' turn to pitch, and he was one of them left-handed guys that seemed to live that they have dual citizenship, Earth and Mars. You never knew what he was going to say to you or when, like he was 5 sheets under the wind in a typhoon." End quote. That's why I thought the Neptune Township was funny. You know, Neptune and then Mars. And so he must have been quite the character, Bob Sykes, and kind of a wild card for Whitey. And I don't know. You know, I'm sure there's some other cool things about him that I just didn't have the time to research. I did find out a direct quote from Bob Sykes in 2011, and this is when the Cardinals, they were not destined to go to the World Series. It was Tony La Russa's final year of managing in St. Louis. They actually were a wild card team, and they ended up beating the Phils in the playoffs, beating the Brewers, and then they beat the Rangers, I think 4-2, and became World Series champs. And here's what Bob Sykes said about the Cardinals. Quote, "They showed what a true Major League ball player is all about. Forget what you are supposed to do, people tell you you're going to do, and just go out and play hard." End quote. And that's what they did. They went out and played hard. They won the World Series. Kind of reminds me of today, the Boston Red Sox. Now, they're not in first place, but at one point they were in last place, and everybody in Boston, everybody around the sports world, counted them out. Well, the Red Sox they're in it. They're in the wild card hunt. Yeah, I know they lost their 3rd game last night, and everybody's going to be like, oh, woe is me. But guess what? Those guys, they got a lot of fight, and they're going to play hard. They're going to play hard for real. Okay, now let's switch to the top of the card. These cards are always kind of fun. It also reminds me of like the Brady Bunch or what was that other show? Match Game. And I think it was Match Game. I can't remember. The 70s are a blur. But let's go to Denny Martinez. Born May 14th, 1955 in Grenada, Nicaragua. He would be the first player from his country of Nicaragua to play in the major league. So that's quite an accomplishment. He was the youngest of 7 kids. I love the concept of big families. I'm the youngest of 10, so I'm sure we share some similar experiences being the youngest in a large family. Now, that's kind of where the sharing ends because He won over 100 games in the AL and over 100 games in the NL. I think he has like a total of 240 wins, so incredible. He also has a perfect game that he pitched in 1991, so I mean, he's all over the place. Well, in 77, Denny Martinez was 23 years old. He was 14-7, 4.10 ERA, pitched in 42 games. He had 5 complete games. He had 4 saves, 166.2 innings pitched, 76 earned runs, 64 walks, 107 Ks, and 0 hit by pitches. So not bad for a 23-year-old kid playing for the Orioles. He'd get that no-hitter when he was playing for the Expos. Here's what Dennis said about early on in his career when he had, pretty much, gotten out of high school. He was married, and he was heading off to Miami to play. Quote, "My friends told me I'd be back in a week. I knew different. This was my chance to support my family. When Luz and I married, we lived with my family. This was my chance to make our own life." And you know what? He certainly did. He and his wife were married young, but they stayed married, still married, in fact. And they've had their ups and downs, but she stuck by Denny the whole way. And they did make their own life. Now here's a little El Presidente reflecting on that perfect game with the Expos and kind of his career, overall. Quote, "I feel God has meant for me to do something with my life. I would like to think since I got straight, I've done more good than bad. They call me a winner, but I think to be a winner, you must first learn to deal with failure." End quote. Wise words from Denny Martinez. You're going to learn through your mistakes. Hopefully, when you make those mistakes or you fail at something, you get up, you try again. Kind of like that earlier quote by Bob Sykes about you got to just play hard. And Denny Martinez, 1983, he stopped drinking. He's a recovering alcoholic, admittedly, and he's got a deep, deep faith in God and maintains that each and every day. And that's how he gets through life. But he also wants to be productive. He wants to do good for his family. He wants to do good for his community and others. And wow, what a life, Denny Martinez. What a life, Bob Sykes. And that's 2 for Tuesday. So hit like if you thought this was a great video. I thought it was. And smash that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Or tell a friend about this channel if you think it's pretty good. And I hope you guys have a great 2 for Tuesday.